Welcome students again into the 11th Science Chemistry class. We are learning about the adsorption phenomenon in this chapter number 11. Now we already learned about the uh, types of the adsorption and what is the adsorption isotherm, and again what are the difference between the adsorption and absorption. But today we are going to learn about the applications of adsorption. Now there are so many industrial applications of the phenomena of adsorption. We know that adsorption is the concentration of the one substance, it may be gas or liquid, on the surface of the another substance, that is the solid. And this concentration, that means adsorption, coagulation or accumulation of the one substance on the surface of the another substance, is the phenomena of adsorption. The substances which get adsorbed on the surface of another substance, that substances are called as adsorbate. And the substance which adsorb these adsorbent gases on its surface is called as the adsorbent. Now adsorbate and adsorbent. Adsorbate are the gases and liquids which accumulate or which get concentrated on the surface of the adsorbent. Now this phenomena of adsorption is very useful in industrial applications. Now the first is the catalysis. Now we know the catalyst. Catalyst increases the rate of the reaction, because in this, that is the heterogeneous catalysis, the gases which are used in the reactions get adsorbed on the solid catalyst. Due to that, what happen? The gases holds on the surface of the catalyst. The catalyst is there, plays the role of the adsorbent, and the gases which are used in the chemical reactions are adsorbate. Now in catalysis, the rate of the reaction increases due to these catalysts which hold the gases on their surface. If they do not hold the gases, then the pressure of the gas, that is concentration of gas, get decreases and the reaction require very long time. So there are the three main industrial applications in catalysis. Is the solid catalysts are used in many industrial manufacturing processes, and that solid catalyst is first is, for example, iron. Ferrous iron is used as a catalyst in the manufacturing of ammonia in Haber process, because the surface of the iron holds the nitrogen and hydrogen gas on its surface, and due to that there is the manufacture of ammonia get faster and faster. And in this way, iron is used as the catalyst in the manufacture of ammonia in the Haber process. Now second catalyst, solid catalyst, is the platinum. Platinum is used in the manufacture of sulfuric acid, H2SO4, in the contact process, because platinum adsorbs on its surface the sulfur dioxide gas. Due to that, the sulfur dioxide gas hold on the platinum surface, and the rate of the reaction conversion of the SO2 into SO3 in the contact process, because first sulfur dioxide get adsorbed on the platinum and then it convert into the sulfur trioxide, and then sulfur trioxide on hydrolysis gives the H2SO4 in the that is the contact process. So platinum is used in the manufacturing of sulfuric acid, H2SO4, in the contact process. Now this is also the very important process of manufacturing of the sulfuric acid, which is very useful solvent in the industrial reactions. So again, the third catalyst which is used in the industrial process is the finely divided nickel. Now this nickel is used as the catalyst in the hydrogenation of oils. We know that the oils having the carbon-carbon double bond, that is the fatty acids having the carbon-carbon double bond in oils, and due to that oils are liquid in state at room temperature. But these oils are converted into the solid fats. By hydrogenation, the solid fats contain the saturated fatty acid and oils contain the unsaturated fatty acids having the carbon-carbon double bond into that. And this carbon-carbon double bond get converted into carbon-carbon single bond by addition of the hydrogen. We know that the hydrogenation of the oils, in that nickel is used as the catalyst. Now these are the three main industrial processes in which the solid catalysts are used as the adsorbents. Now of the gases. Second is the gas mask. Now we are very well familiar with the mask. Now here this gas mask contain, that is the activated charcoal or a mixture of adsorbents, and these gas masks are used in the coal mines, because coal mines, there in the atmosphere of that coal mines there are the poisonous gases, and these gas masks having the, that is the activated charcoal or mixture of adsorbents is used for the breathing in that gas mines for the workers, because due to the gas mask, the activated charcoal or the adsorbent mixture adsorb the poisonous gases in that gas mask, and the air is free from the poisonous gases and the purified air will acquired by the workers. So gas mask is the device which consists of the activated charcoal. It is the device in which there is the activated charcoal and a mixture of adsorbents is there in that gas mask. The gas mask is used for breathing in coal mines to avoid the inhaling of the poisonous gases by the workers, and because these gas masks adsorb, that is they adsorb the poisonous gases, get adsorbed in the gas masks, and in this way to avoid the inhaling of the poisonous gases, gas masks are used in the coal mines. Now third application of the adsorption is the control of humidity. Humidity means moisture. To control the moisture also the adsorption phenomena is very useful. Now silica gel and alumina gels are good adsorbent of the moisture. They adsorb moisture water vapors on their surface area, and due to that there is the moisture free atmosphere will be created, and in this way to control the humidity, silica and alumina gels are used as the adsorbent of the moisture. Now next one is the fourth application is the production of high vacuum. Now this is also important to produce the high vacuum, because vacuum also necessary for the study of the different, that is the processes. Vacuum means there is no any traces of air or any gas or moisture in that cylinder or vessel. The vessel or the cylinder which contain zero air, that is no air, is called as the vacuum. Now a vacuum can be created by applying the vacuum pump, but still some of the air or moisture will be remain in that vessel. So how this air or moisture we have to eliminate it there, or we have to control this air, or we have to absorb this air or moisture. Then how we can do this? And this is done by the adsorption process. Now how is that? Lowering of temperature at any given pressure increases the rate of adsorption. We know that this principle, we know that, that is, there is the, if there is the lowering of temperature at any pressure, then there the rate of adsorption also increases. Now, lowering of temperature at any pressure increases the rate of adsorption of gas on charcoal powder. By using this principle, in high vacuum can be attained. By using this principle, that is the lowering of temperature at any given temperature can increases the rate of adsorption. By using this principle, we can create the high vacuum. So, high vacuum can be attained by adsorption. Now, how it is done? A vessel evacuated by vacuum pump. First, the vessel in which we want to create a vacuum get evacuated by the vacuum pump, and this vessel is connected to the another vessel. This vessel is connected to the another vessel containing coconut charcoal, and that coconut charcoal is cooled by liquid air to acquire the low temperature. This coconut charcoal is cooled by the liquid air, because due to that there is creation of the low temperature and maximum adsorption. So the evacuated vessel is connected to the another vessel in which there is the activated charcoal or coconut charcoal, which is cooled by the liquid air, and the charcoal then adsorb the remaining traces of air or moisture. The charcoal adsorb the remaining traces of air or moisture which are remaining in that evacuated vessel after that is the evacuated by the vacuum pump. Still there is the traces of air or moisture, and in this way the that is the coconut charcoal, which is cooled by the air liquid air liquid, can be then create a high vacuum, because that activated or coconut charcoal adsorb the traces of air and moisture. Now next application, fifth application, is the separation of inert gases or noble gases. Now we know that the noble gases, that is the argon, neon, krypton, xenon, helium, these are the noble gases. Now these noble gases are very difficult to separate. Then how we can separate these noble gases from each other? Now adsorption phenomena is very important or useful for separation of these noble gases or inert gases, because these noble gases can adsorb on the solid substances such as silica gel, etc. at different extent. Now this principle or this selective adsorption principle is used to separate the noble gases. So in the separation of inert gases, in a mixture of noble gases or inert gases, different gases adsorb to a different extent. We know that different gases adsorb to a different extent. Due to this selective adsorption principle, by using this selective adsorption principle, what is selective adsorption principle? That different noble gases adsorb at a different extent. By using this selective principle or selective adsorption principle, the inert gases can be separated on the coconut charcoal, and then they get isolated from each other. Now this is the fifth application to separate the inert gases. There are again three different applications. Let us learn that also. Now pay attention again, students. Now we are learning the, that is the sixth application of the adsorption. Now this is the number 6th application of adsorption. That is the adsorption indicators. You very well familiar about the indicators. Indicators are used in the titration practicals to detect the endpoint or to detect the color change. Now we know the indicators such as methyl orange, phenolphthalein, etc., which are used in the titration, volumetric titration. Now there is also the precipitation titrations are there. That means when endpoint comes, there is accumulation or coagulation of precipitate of one of the substance. But that precipitate formation cannot be detected if we do not use the dyes such as eosine or fluorescein to detect that precipitate, because it is in the small that is particles. So how we can detect the color change? It is whitish in color, that precipitate is white in color. So they require also the adsorption indicators such as the dyes as the eosine, fluorescein. And when endpoint comes, these dyes adsorb on that precipitation of the substance, and due to which the white precipitate can be changed into the color precipitate, and we can easily detect the endpoint of the titration. Now see here, in the adsorption indicators, adsorption phenomena is used, the adsorption is used to detect the end point of precipitation titrations. Dyes such as eosine, fluorescein are used as the indicators in that precipitation titrations. For example, let us that is consider a precipitation titration between sodium chloride and silver nitrate. So a solution of sodium chloride NaCl containing small amount of this indicator fluorescein is titrated against the silver nitrate AgNO3 solution. Now when the endpoint comes, that means all these chloride ions from these NaCls are used to form the AgCl precipitate. At that time, this fluorescein indicator adsorb on that precipitate of silver chloride, which is pale white, PPT or pale yellowish PPT, and then it adsorption by the fluorescein dye, it converted into the reddish pink PPT, and due to which we can detect the endpoint. So the reaction is NaCl plus AgNO3 gives AgCl plus NaNO3. Now this AgCl is white precipitate. PPT means precipitate. That is the accumulation of the, that is coagulated substance. So when chloride ions are over, that means ends, or means all are used up for this reaction, then what happen? Fluorescein dye is adsorbed on that white silver chloride precipitate. This white silver chloride precipitate get adsorb the fluorescein dye, and due to which what happen? A red color is developed, and which is the end point of the titration. So the color change can be easily observed from pale yellow to reddish pink at the end point of the titration. In this way, the adsorption phenomena is also used in the precipitation titration or adsorption indicators. And that adsorption indicators are the dyes such as eosine and the fluorescein dye. Now next application is the froth flotation process. Now you know the froth, the soap and detergents, when we get mixed in the with the water, there is the formation of froth. Now this froth formation or froth flotation process is there for the concentration of the ore. Ore means, ore is the That is, it is the compound of the any metal with such as oxide or sulfide. Now it is found into the earth crust, and from that ore we can, that is, separate or we can refine the metal or separate the metal, isolate the metal by the different chemical processes. That is extraction of the metal from the ore. You know that extraction means obtaining of the pure metal from its ore. Ore is nothing but it is the mineral, but into that there is so many impurities are there. So how to separate the compound or any element from its ore? There is first process is the concentration of the ores, because ores are found in the earth crust. So there are so many earthy matter. Again there is the that is silica. Silica, you know, SiO2, silica. Now these are the impurities in that ore. So to separate these impurities such as silica and earthy matter from the ore, we have to use the process concentration of the ore. Now one of the process of concentration of the ore is the froth flotation process. Now this froth flotation process is generally used for the sulfide ores, because sulfide particle get wet or adsorb on the, that is the oil, some that is the pine oils, etc. Now these pine oils adsorb the sulfide particles, and in this way the sulfide ore gets separated from the impurities, and these adsorbed particles in the pine oil form the froth, and that froth gets concentrated, and from that the sulfide ore get concentrated or get separated. So froth flotation process very important in case of concentration of the sulfide ores. So low grade sulfide ore which is found in the earth crust, it is low grade, that is containing so many impurities, is concentrated, that means separated, by separating it from the silica and other earthy matter using pine oil as the frothing agent. Due to the pine oil, there is the agitation of this sulfide ore with the pine oil by using a industrial agitating system, and due to that there is the formation of froth. So pine oil acts as the frothing agent. And this hydrophobic pine oil, which not mix into the water, which is hydrophobic, they form the separate globules, and into that separate globules the hydrophobic pine oil preferentially wets or adsorb on sulfide ore, and due to that there is formation of so many froth, and that froth gets separated, and this, that is the, this pine oil preferentially adsorbed or weighed by the sulfide ore, which is taken up in the form of froth, and in this way the sulfide ore get separated or concentrated by using this froth flotation process, in which also there is the adsorption phenomena is used. Now this is also the application of adsorption, and the last application is the chromatographic analysis. Now there are chromatographic columns of silica gel or alumina gels. Now if we pour a mixture of different ions in the, that is the column of the silica gel, then the different ions get separated at a different levels or distance on that columns, and that ion which are get adsorbed at the separate distance form a, that is the belt, and of the different colors, and in this way by using again the that is the eluent, we can separate the ions, and this phenomena is also used in the many industrial and analytical applications. There are other application include such as surface determination, purification of water is also in this adsorption process. So in the chromatographic analysis, it is based on the selective adsorption of the ions from the solution of that ions. There is the selective adsorption ions and using the powder adsorbents such as silica gel or alumina gel, we can separate these ions. Now these are the applications of the adsorption phenomena, which is very important industrially and also in the different, that is the titration like processes. So if student you understand very well this application, then you share, subscribe and again like this video and again tell the other students to subscribe and like this video. Thank you.